Hi, good morning, good afternoon. This is William Sigmund, Director of Sales Engineering for phoenixNAP. Our guest star today is Tyrell Vance, who's a solution architect with SUSE Rancher. Real quick, I'd like to run this off with a couple of poll questions just so we can kind of tailor the prezo to the people that are listening. First poll question, obviously, is where do you run Kubernetes today? And we'll give you a couple seconds to answer that poll question. All right. So it looks like, no big surprise here. Public cloud owns a small piece of it. On-premise servers seem to be the biggest place everybody's running it. Let's go ahead and go to the next poll question. What's your biggest challenge with Kubernetes operations? And again, we're doing these polls just so you can see how it compares to a couple of surveys we've done through Cloud Native Computing Foundation. And we'll show you what we think the answers are compared to what they think the answers are. All right. Yeah, it looks like limited experience is the number one, which, as you will see, probably isn't going to be a surprise for us again. So, where are containers today? So, what we're noticing is pretty much everywhere. We see folks running it in their own place. We see folks running it out there in the public clouds. We also see folks doing a mix, i.e., hybrid and/or multi-cloud. So, it's kind of everywhere, but as to the bottom point there, the teams are struggling. You guys confirmed that with experience being your number one concern. And this is kind of a follow-on with that. Where are they running Kubernetes? Well, on-premise self-managed was the number one, and from cloud native, and you guys answered the same way. The big thing, of course, following up with that is lack of experience out there, lack of experience with the tools, and pipeline usage. So this kind of aligns with what you guys said too. As you see there, point three, lack of training, right? Obviously security is always a concern, but it's been a concern since the computer was born, right? Automation with CI/CD is the next biggest thing too. And then obviously, where do the developer teams versus the actual operators fit, and where do you draw those lines in the sand, right? So how to avoid pitfalls? Well, obviously you want to standardize, right? Automation is a big help, right? If something's automated, there's less chance to fat finger something and break it. ACLs are important too, making sure the right people have access to the right things. And of course, the end goal is to maximize efficiency. So how to avoid pitfalls? Well, obviously you want to standardize, right? Automation is a big help, right? If something's automated, there's less chance to fat finger something. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Tyrell. It's on you, sir. Thank you.
Awesome. No, thanks, Will. Appreciate that. Um, I love that. I did want to call out one of those stats on there was that in 2025, nearly a third of all organizations are releasing code multiple times a day. I think that's wild. But I mean, we see it with AI. AI is changing. We had a call with that this morning. So thanks again. You guys, Will is the guy. If right after this webinar, when you're calling pnap to get hooked up with Rancher Prime on pnap Emerald Cloud, ask for Will. He'll get you taken care of. Like you said, I'm Tyrell. I'm a solution architect at SUSE, and I'm going to talk about how we can address like the complexities of Kubernetes, kind of show you how it can be easy to use and how you can automate it, even if you don't have a lot of experience. So um, companies are embracing Kubernetes. We're seeing it everywhere. We have companies coming to us all the time. If you're familiar with SUSE, if you're familiar with Linux, you recognize that green chameleon down in the corner. Fun fact, his name is Geeko. But as a company, we've been defining the Linux landscape for over 30 years. And we are powering the top names across every industry with their Linux and their Kubernetes solutions. And they're coming to us because their hypervisor costs are going through the roof, or their Linux vendors are forcing them to change things. And we remove those pain points. We have solutions for your Linux deployments, your edge deployments, even your AI deployments. We do it all at SUSE. That being said, I want to focus in on that cloud native part because that's how we're going to be removing the complexities of Kubernetes. So just to reiterate some of what Will said, more than 3 out of every 4 engineers are saying that Kubernetes is adding complexity to their infrastructure. 49 out of 50 companies you can see there at the bottom are investing in getting their teams that experience and that skill that you guys talked about is kind of the issue. And then a big one, I know everybody on this call, 100 people, we have 30 something of us. We're part of that 6%, right? 94% are saying they've had a security incident and that they aren't taking security threats seriously. Don't be part of the 94%, okay? We can all agree right now, we're part of the 6%. We take this seriously. Whether you're running into authentication issues with your Kubernetes or chasing down like runtime security threats or Helm chart upgrades that are breaking things, you're not alone, okay? Everybody's seeing it. We hear it daily. And this is what Rancher really does. Rancher's not just a dashboard. You don't need a dashboard. You need a control plane, something to harness the power of Kubernetes so that you can really innovate and modernize your infrastructure. Rancher is that one place to tame all that chaos, apply your consistent policies that you decide on, deploy clusters, manage them throughout their lifecycle. And Rancher is open source. We have over 100 million downloads of Rancher to date, with over 20,000 stars on GitHub. So it's not just like this black box solution where you don't know what you're getting into. It is backed by one of the largest Kubernetes communities in the world. So here's, like I said, even the best news is that it's not just about centralizing container management. We have tools for everything you need to eliminate the chaos, to reduce the complexity. We also integrate with your tools, your clouds. There's no huge migrations. There's no vendor lock-in. We take all those cluster pieces and the tools and stitch them together into this one fabric. Less complexity, you have fewer headaches, and you have more time to innovate. And that's really the big picture. The truth is, your greatest expense as an organization is not what you're spending the most money on. Your biggest expense is the revenue that you're not capturing because your teams are fighting your infrastructure instead of innovating your products and your processes. And Rancher is going to help you get back to focus on what matters most. Okay, managing Kubernetes is not about just spinning up clusters. Okay, there's a lot that goes into it. And so we have the observability tools that you need. We have the modernization tools that you need. And with our Rancher Suite offering, we have the security tool for the entire security of your whole infrastructure and of your applications. Okay, so kind of zooming out, Rancher is a single pane of glass into your entire environment. So if you have clusters that are running in the cloud, clusters that are running out on the edge, and all the ones that are on-prem or on bare metal, we can manage all of those from that one same control plane, regardless of where they live and regardless of the distros. So if you have EKS or GKE or AKS or K3S, any CNCF certified Kubernetes distribution, we can manage it with Rancher for its entire lifecycle. Deploy it, manage it, upgrade it, you name it. Now, here's another awesome thing. With Rancher Prime, you don't have to duct tape a bunch of other tools together to get it. Rancher comes with the batteries included. So you get a CNCF certified Kubernetes distribution, an enterprise grade OS layer, and then all the tools you need to take your container workloads to the next level. That being said, we also know that no two teams are the same. You have your preferences, you have the things that you want. And so we give you freedom of choice. You can use whatever you want. If you want Prometheus for your monitoring, go for it. You can use that. We integrate seamlessly with whatever CI/CD pipelines you already have in place, whatever tools you're using, to give you complete flexibility with zero vendor lock-in. I love this slide. I'm not going to talk to all of it, but don't just take my word for what I'm saying. These are real customer results. And I just want you to think about what would any one of these things do for your organization and your teams, right? Regardless of what vertical you're in, we can replicate these results for your organization. And what would that mean if, for example, like Toyota, you reduced your troubleshooting time by 87%? What does that do for your processes and your products? It makes the entire landscape of your Kubernetes infrastructure so much better. Cool. So what does this look like in real life? Well, this is the day two operations, if you will, in Rancher. From the dashboard, you can see all of the clusters that you're managing, regardless of where they're living in one place. And you can also import clusters from wherever they are into your Rancher manager. So you spin up Rancher and you import them from the cloud or from the prem that you're using them on. And also next, you can create and provision clusters out to wherever you want them to live. In the cloud, we see hybrid solutions often. You have some things in the cloud, some things on-prem, and some things at the edge. Obviously, most of it on bare metal cloud with phoenixNAP. Access control is a huge pain point in Kubernetes. This is a complexity for sure. Like, RBAC is one of the greatest things that Rancher does for Kubernetes. It gives you absolutely the most robust RBAC controls, role-based access control, whether it's global or next at the cluster level, and then or even down to the project namespace. Yep. This is just showing you. Now, these are all default RBAC templates that you can use, but you can also customize them. You can also create your own. So you have everything, all the fine-grained control that you need to determine access into those clusters. Okay, that was a lot of information about Rancher. I'm just going to take just a quick break just for a split second. I'm not going to ask for any questions yet. We are going to do a Q&A a little bit later, but take a minute, write down questions if you have them. And when we get to the Q&A, if you stump Will, then I will buy you lunch. Or better yet, I have these big, check this guy out. I can ship you a big old chameleon. But I am gonna, so just for a few more minutes, I'm gonna talk quickly about our security offering that's on the screen now. I'm gonna talk about automation inside of Rancher and our application collection, and then I'll turn it back over to Will. Okay, so for security is a huge concern when it comes to Kubernetes because there's so many moving pieces. And this is where, so our SUSE security solution, the project name is New Vector. This is where it really shines. With New Vector, you get layered runtime protection combined with zero trust controls. This is perfect, thank you. So from the entire lifecycle of your application, when it's being delivered to when you're actually running it, we're doing vulnerability scanning, compliance scanning, everything you see there. And then we have a zero trust control, which means we assume nothing, we verify everything. Think airport security, right? You're going to get on the flight, you have to go through security, you have to have a boarding pass, you go through regular security or TSA clear, but you have to make it through. They're not just assuming anybody's good to go. That's how we're doing our security approach as well. Automation, some of the results talked about, so it was either lack of experience, and then for the people that had a little bit of experience, the next one was automation, lack of automation. So as soon as you get a little bit of experience with Kubernetes, you realize, man, this is tedious. It is hard to do this manually over and over and over again. So you need a way to automate things. This is where ranchers get fleet ops coming into control. From our continuous delivery dashboard, you can add your Git repos of your choice. You can create your own. You can bring in third parties, and you can use those to automate them. You can also use API tools and third-party applications from the SUSE application collection, and these are delivered securely through the SUSE supply chain. They're hardened, they're signed by us, and we're managing them constantly. Go and actually check these out. There's a public-facing website, apps.rancher.io. You can see this all real time. We are we're taking these applications from the third parties, and we're signing them and hardening them ourselves. So we're grabbing them from upstream. Literally within hours that an update is released to these, we are grabbing it and releasing it through our supply chain so that you have a library of curated, signed, hardened applications that you can use. We're just going to kind of refocus on the big picture again with Rancher Prime. It gives you a platform to manage Kubernetes everywhere with all the tools, all the integrations that you need to remove the complexity of Kubernetes. It's consistent, it's open, it's secure. You have the flexibility to run whatever you want, wherever it makes the most sense. That being said, I want to drill in a little bit on phoenixNAP's bare metal clouds. Rancher, and you'll see this in a second with Will, Rancher runs perfectly on phoenixNAP's bare metal cloud. It comes with a ton of benefits as well. When you're running Kubernetes directly on bare metal cloud, you're getting zero virtualization overhead. You're getting better performance and throughput from your hardware because you're accessing it directly. You have improved reliability and cost control. There's not these like month two, oh crap, the cloud costs several times more than we were projecting because we hear that all the time. So you get to, and you have a cleaner security posture. It's more secure inside of phoenixNAP. So you eliminate the hypervisor tax, you get rid of your noisy neighbors that you have in those traditional data centers, but you get to keep all the automation, the GitOps, the RBAC, everything that we bring with SUSE Rancher Prime. You still have that with phoenixNAP's bare metal cloud. So you truly get the best of both worlds. You have that cloud-like automation, and you have the bare metal speed and economics. And with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Will, to show them how it works.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, just to hit on that, obviously, as you see this chart, we do integrate with all the normal CI/CD tools that you're used to. If you've used public cloud, you've all heard of Terraform and Ansible, right? That's all there too. We, as well as Rancher, are easy to find on GitHub. So there's powerful SDKs for both, and they're all out there. To kind of hit on what Tyrell said earlier, these are dedicated instances to you. It's not a shared environment. So when you download bare metal cloud and you get your account going and you pick your machine, that machine is dedicated to you. It's not containers running inside of containers, shared space all across everything, right? It's literally, if you were doing bare metal right there in your own shop, it's just we're taking care of the metal for you. Everything north of the control plane is you. Obviously, we do it kind of cloud based, right? So you can do hourly, you can do monthly, you can do annual, depending on how long you need it. And again, you can deploy it in minutes. So literally, you can run up a Rancher cluster, a management cluster in 5 to 6 minutes, and you're up and going. We kind of talked about most of this stuff. The one thing I do want to hit on this slide is it's all next gen hardware. When Intel drops a new chip, we drop it in here. So you're getting the newest, latest, and greatest hardware out there. You're not provisioning on stuff that's 5, 6, 10 years old in some cases, right? We do also have S3 compatible storage, and we have network file storage in there too. So if you need extra storage, that's a good way to get it. So let's talk about a little bit. So when you go into bare metal cloud, you get two choices. You can either fire up a management cluster, or you can fire up a management cluster with a workload. We give you that option because some folks just want to fire up the management nodes, get into Rancher, and deploy all their workloads right through Rancher. They can do that. Some folks are in a hurry and they'd rather just deploy it right there from the interface, and they can do that too. Either way, everything's visible once you get into Rancher. I don't want to beat this up too much, but obviously, our tools in conjunction with Rancher's tools let you leverage IAC, and that's the biggest thing right there. And to hit it on it again, Rancher's got RBAC. phoenixNAP's about to have RBAC, so even on the hardware side, you're going to have RBAC. So it's going to be a nice tight ship to run. And again, it's not a shared environment. You don't have to worry about spillage from other stuff. So it's literally a 4-step process, super easy. You just log into BMC or bmc.phoenixnap.com and create an account, choose your predefined cluster, add your SSH keys, and then fire it away. Again, you can put as many nodes in there as you want. You can do it through Rancher, you can do it through ours, but either way, again, it's all visible through that single pane of glass that Rancher offers. So at that point, go ahead and submit your questions if you have any. I see we've got a couple in already, so I'll go ahead and answer those. When running distributed clusters, is a good practice to spread nodes across multiple locations. Running nodes is usually bad practice due to latencies, but running clusters in different locations is a good practice. Question 2, you mentioned Kubernetes increasingly used to host VMs. How does that work? Well, SUSE Rancher supports KubeVirt, so you can actually run traditional VMs in there, and of course, maintain and manage those as a single pane of glass right there from the interface. Another question, how many clusters can Rancher manage? I will let Tyrell answer that because he's probably got the most up-to-date info.
So you can, if you're talking honestly, as many as you want. If you're talking one rancher management cluster, because you can link several rancher management clusters together, right? But we see hundreds, thousands of them that are being managed inside of Rancher. I don't know if we have a hard published number of like, don't do this or else everything blows up.
Right.
Really, what it has to do, it's more based on regionally and location. So if you want to remove latency, then you might just have a Rancher management cluster for everything that's in the west, and then you might have one for everything that's in the east or overseas.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Can I,
Appreciate
can
it.
I, can I jump on and add to that?
Sure,
By the
Ali.
way, everybody,
By
I'm
the way,
from
this is Ali. He's with SUSE as well. Go ahead.
the SUSE side. Um, to Tyrell's point of like, there's no hard and fast number. I will say this: 90% of Fortune 1000 companies we're involved in, and we have yet to hit a number that we cannot support. So that's not it's not a number, but it's to
Yeah,
say there's no threshold. So I want to
that's
say that.
it'd be a theoretical maximum if there was one, because we've never had an issue.
Yeah.
That's fair. Thanks, Ali. Thank you all for attending. Thanks again, Tyrell. We really appreciate your time, buddy. Thanks a
Yep.
lot. Goodbye, everybody.
William, thanks, Tyrell.